Hey guys, what's up? It's Brandon Lewin. So today I'm going to talk to you about an awesome topic. It's how to sell more without being salesy, right? And a lot of times people give you just a little bit. They give you, a teaser, and they try to get you into a webinar. This is really strictly just all about 3 tips that I've used to actually sell more over my entire 12-year career. And I've grown businesses everywhere from consulting businesses, coaches, training, non-for-profits, service-based businesses, and online training programs. One of the largest companies I worked with was an online training program, and they sold strictly online, and we implemented a process which included a lot of this, and we went from 800K in sales to 1.3 million in 8 months. A huge increase. Other companies I've worked with, there's some other trainers who actually just went from doing about 50,000 in sales to doing 80,000, and we increased that over a month. And those are some huge increases for them. And then I've even taken people from 0 to 30,000 in 3 months. It all comes back down to this process. I actually worked for a couple companies for a while before I went back on my own. And one thing I did was, before I went on to another company, I actually had 2 clients ready to go. And then in the first month, I sold 11 people. And it's through this process. So I'm gonna share 3 tips on how we do this. It's a fantastic, really easy. And the best thing is that you don't have to be salesy. So there's 3 tips and 3, I guess tips is the best way to describe it. But it really is the 3 parts of how to sell more without being salesy. And then I'm gonna give you a bonus one. And I'm gonna give you the bonus one right off the bat, okay? The first one, which is the bonus, is that you need to enjoy it, all right? It seems simple and straightforward. However, a lot of people don't. They think, oh man, I hate selling. It's the worst thing in the world. And they whine and they bitch about it. And in all honesty, it's like, just get over it. If you're in business, if you're in the world of business, and even just in general, you need to sell. I mean, teachers have to sell their students on stuff. Students have to sell the teachers. If you work for somebody, you have to sell them on keeping you around to increase your salary. If you want to get a promotion, you have to sell them on keeping you. Plain and simple. When you are married, you have to sell your spouse on things. When you have kids, you have to sell your kids on that. If you have parents, you have to sell your parents on certain things. So that we all are in this world of selling. And whether we acknowledge it or not, every day we do some sort of selling. So what we really need to do is just get your mind out of it and just enjoy it. Enjoy it, embrace it, and take it on. Perfect example, and that's really where we get to see the huge success. And once you put it aside and say, and you accept it, and you say, hey, guess what? I can sell, and I don't mind selling, because guess what? I'm not going to be a used car salesperson. I'm not going to be a pushy salesperson. I'm not going to be like a drug dealer, like taste my product to get it. No, I'm going to be a consultative selling person, and that's the approach I'm going to take. And there's different ways. There's hard selling that used carsmen kind of get that stereotype, and then you have soft selling, which is good, and then you get consultative selling, and that's what we're going to talk about here. So where I found all of this is that I started my first real job in the sales world back when I was 23. I was out of college. I just tried my first dabble in entrepreneurship, and I got thrown into this sales position. And well, actually, I interviewed for a sales position. They didn't give it to me because I didn't have any background, so I had to work my way up. So what they actually did is put me on the inside sales. I had to answer phones and talk to people when they came to the trade show. It was for an international bathroom company, bathroom remodeling company, and it was fantastic. Something I really enjoyed, I wanted to do, and I was being groomed for it. So first thing I did is that I excelled in the inside sales. I got on the phone, I learned the script, I did it well, I had secret shoppers, and I always scored in the highest percentile. I was always in the 99th percentile. It was amazing. Then 8 months later, a position opened up for the outside sales. I wanted it. So I pursued it, I got it, and I got thrown into the fire because outside sales is 100% commission. You eat what you kill. And I did not kill a thing in the first 3 months. I fell flat on my face and it was horrible. The biggest thing was that I was timid. I was timid and I did not enjoy it. I was great on the phone, but when I had to transition into actually talking to people face to face, oh man, I clammed up, I got nervous, I forgot everything that I went through and the training that I went through and the process that I have, and I got nervous. But what I did in that 3 months is I consistently kept going at it. Finally, it just clicked. One day, I was reading books, I was practicing, I was failing a lot. Like I heard no all the time. One day that in that 3rd month, it just clicked. Something inside me just was like, whatever, like what's the big deal? You've gotten said no to plenty of times. Let's just go out, talk to people, have a good time and see what happens. And sure enough, guess what? I went from, in that region, I was one of the 40 salespeople, and I went from the bottom of the barrel to the top 2 consistently for a year and a half. And it's because I implemented these tips that I'm about to share with you today. And I've included these throughout the rest of my career. And this is how we've grown so many different businesses. And this also applies to whether you're selling, offline, online, or a combination of both. Having this part really helps you to make it more of a consultation than you have, being that a salesy person. So first one in this, or second, besides the bonus, would be set an agenda. And what I mean by that is that when you start to talk with this person or people or a company, what you need to do is you need to set an agenda. You need to define what's going to go on. You need to make sure that you understand what their expectations are, what the purpose of the meeting is, what your expectations are as well, and then explain to them what the outcome of this meeting is going to look like. Meaning that you want to get to 1 of 2 answers. You want to get to either a yes or a no. And that's what the purpose of the meeting is. Because if you define that, then you get instead of getting people to say maybe or I'll think about it, which really means it's just a roundabout way of saying no, and then you have to spend time chasing people, and that can just eat up your business, and that kills your closing percentage, that kills your morale, and it just really just plays a huge part in your psyche, which then affects your other sales when you go out there. So what I always say is the second best answer to yes is a no. So setting that agenda helps you to subtly control the situation, but still control it to be able to get people to either yes or no. And most times you actually want them to yes. And people really actually appreciate an agenda. When you know what's going on, like for instance, if you watch a webinars or you go to trainings, what is one of the first slides you see? They set an agenda. People don't do this during sales meetings. You need to do it. It's very effective. It actually increases your closing percentage, and you start to sell more when you implement agendas into your sales meetings. So first thing is sales is an agenda. Second is the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule. You've heard the 80-20 rule probably all the time. This one applies to sales specifically, meaning that you want to do 80% of the time, you want the other person talking. 20% of the time, you want to be asking questions. Why is that? Because the more they talk, the more information and more comfortable you become with the situation. You get them to really dive underneath the surface, because typically in sales meetings, people only hit at the tip of the iceberg. They only go on the top of the surface. They don't actually dive deep underneath to find out what is really driving these people, what emotion, what is the purpose of why they want to use your services to solve a problem that they have. And when you can dive deep into those emotions, and you can get into really why these people are doing it, then you can actually, money doesn't become an issue anymore. When you get people to do something and you find those emotions that they're driving on, then you're actually increasing the possibility of closing them. Because when people buy off of emotion, that's what really drives most people. I mean, there's the top 3 reasons people buy: fear, gain, and benefits. It's really what it comes down to. Okay, so fear is emotion, and not that you're trying to drive them into a scare tactic, because it could be other types of emotion, but that is usually what drives people to make a decision right away. And there's no buyer's remorse when it comes to that. You help them through the situation, you're helping them think, and when you get them to talk more and reveal more of the reasoning behind that, you got this in the bag. It increases your closing percentage tremendously. All right, last one. This is the most important one. Do what's best for the client. And this is a hard one for people, because you're going to go through that, you're going to set the agenda, you're going to ask them questions, and by the end, you're going to be able to really understand whether this is a good fit for them or not. And if it isn't, if they're just not ready to use your service, your product, then you need to be able to say, sorry, no. However, I can still help you. I can refer you to other people. I can point you in the right direction. I could give you some tips, but you have to really do what's best for them. And that's even having to say no to them. I know it can be hard for people, especially if you feel like you need to close people and you need the business. But in all honesty, that is what's best for both of you. To take in a client that's not ready for you, but you know that and you still do it anyway, it's going to mess with you. It's going to mess with your psyche. No one's going to get really good results. And at the end of the day, it's just not going to work out. So you're going to have a bad experience. The client's going to have a bad experience, and it's just going to leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. So you're better off to sucking it up, saying no to them, and letting them go to somewhere else. And guess what? The universe will pay you back in some way for doing the right thing. That's the key here. Always do the right thing. Do what's best for the client, and even when when you have to say no. So if you follow these 3 tips, you're going to see tremendous results in increasing your sales. What I want to do is that I know we only have a certain period of time. I can't sit here and go through all this, but there's a lot more detail and actually more around this entire process that's really going to drive your sales and help you to sell more. So what I invite you to do is actually set up a free 30-minute strategy with me, one-on-one. You don't have to. I mean, you're obviously not obligated to do this. You could take this stuff and run with it. Fantastic. Just let me know how it works out, and if you have any questions, not a problem. However, if you want more, we can sit down, we can talk about this, talk about your business, see where you are, see how you can implement more of a sales process, but also include the marketing side, because really what it's about is about developing a business development process, which includes sales and marketing, and how all of that works together. So I invite you to set up a 30-minute free, absolutely free, no obligation strategy session. We're just gonna talk one-on-one. You and I will get on the phone or Skype, and we'll talk more about your situation. And at the very least, you'll be able to walk away with some tips and tricks and things that you can actually take and use beyond just what you learned today, and dive really deep into your situation to help you and customize it to your benefits. So I invite you to go ahead, click the link below, and we'll set up a time, and I look forward to talking to you.